Hello once again, and welcome to Dice Friends on the amazing Loading Ready Run network. My name is Jeremy. I will be your dungeon master for the evening, and I'm here with some very fine players who are going to be representing the heroes of tonight's delve into the Deep Ladies domain. So we have been playing Rasp of Sand for a few weeks now. If you want to know more about the setting, if you want to know more about the game, it is a cool little indie game that was released as a zine. You can check out some of those previous episodes. There is a lot of information, especially in the first one, to direct you to the folks that made Rasp of Sand and the folks that made Knave, one particular folk in the case of each of those things. Yeah, you should check that. You should check them out. Also, folks in the chat can probably help you out if you're watching live. If you are not, well, then I guess you can also check the YouTube comments. It should be in there. For right now, let's get to introducing our cast, starting with down here to my right, Andrew Cowden. How are you doing, Andy? Andy looks confused.
How are you doing, Andy?
Sorry, are y'all? Can y'all hear me?
Uh-oh, I can't hear Andy.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Gosh. Well, we have a slight technical difficulty here. Paul, maybe you and Andy can work through things a little bit, and I can go. Good. I'll recap quickly where we're at, what's been happening so far with the where we left things off last time. Actually, first of all, an exciting announcement. This is important. We had said last time that that last session was the final session for Rasp of Sand. This was the case at that time, as far as we knew, with all the information that we had. That was going to be that was the truth. And so a detect lies would have revealed that we were in fact truthful in that particular scenario. However, the plans have changed. The next campaign for Dice Friends is not going to be starting until August 10th. So for August 3rd, we will be again playing Rasp of Sand, and our valiant heroes are going to have another chance to make it through the dungeon, at least as far as they can get, to the bottom, and find some more success in the adventure. So we got a one game extension to get a little bit farther in the roguelike, which should be pretty
all
exciting.
About moist monarchs.
Yeah.
Moist monarchs. That's super appealing. Thank you, Ian. Yeah, all that being announced, where our heroes were last time. Last session, we explored the depths. The group got farther than you've ever gotten before, down to the 3rd level of the dungeon. And it was really scary, but you were making good progress until, unfortunately, someone, Flan, the valiant Flan, after having an incredibly heroic delve into the 3rd level, met her end at the hands of a very sparkly octopus.
She certainly did. Can you hear me now?
Yes! Andy, we can hear you. He's back. Fantastic.
Sorry about that, folks. But yes.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, carry on. I'll introduce my character if you want me to. But tell me more about my glorious death of the octopus.
It was a very glorious death. Actually, it was very heroic, and I actually was taken somewhat aback that you died in that situation because I thought you. I thought you could sustain that much damage. Honestly, at that point, I did not realize that was. So I was even a little bit surprised when you were like, "Okay, I'm at 0," and I was like, "Uh-oh, that's pretty bad."
I guess maybe I did that wrong because I still had I had a big was it AD, was it attack defense or something like that? Like I had a bunch of armor, but I guess I was, because I failed that charm thing, that it could just pick me up and take a bite out of my skull.
Yeah, I mean, like that was we could have maybe ruled a little bit differently on that. I don't know. I think that it made sense that because you were charmed, you couldn't like put your armor in the way of of getting hurt. So I definitely did like roll to hit you with that attack, but it was pretty brutal. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It was pretty nasty on my part, but. The nice thing about this campaign is if somebody dies, everyone gets to start again, and so you do. But it's nice, you know. You don't have to like catch up with everyone else or feel left behind or whatever. Everyone just starts again. So
Yeah.
your heirs from the last game have gone back to their island home. They've lived for another 20 years, hopefully in relative peace. And they have managed to bring up the next generation of their family, or help bring up the next generation of their family, who we are going to be introduced to now. So, starting with Andy. Now that he is back, Andy, take it away. Who are you going to be playing this evening? And I'm curious, because I think that you have now reached the highest level of your trade abilities. Every one of your families has an ability associated with it, and it levels up every time you die. Another mechanic I really like about this game is that OSR, really brutal. You die a lot, but it gives you like bonuses for dying, and that's great. So yeah, please introduce your character, and you can explain your family's trade and the new ability that you got this time.
Certainly. My name is Flute, son of Flan /Foot. I am a fifth generation warrior, which means I get the highest death bonus, I guess, which is battle rhythm. You may attack a second time per turn.
Oh,
Wow.
Damn. And that on top of everything else, where I have this parry ability that can just take a quality off of my armor, and I can roll for how much less damage I get for that, and martial artist and defender and tactical retreat. We're gonna get. I know we got it like another episode next week, but I want to see how far we can get, folks. Let's just do it upright. And so, and I'm back to level 1. I guess that's how it goes.
Yep.
And I have 300 XP left over because I took a fraction of that from before. I have a passion for cooking. Again, I guess I inherited that from my grandfather. I think, who was also into cooking. I think so. No, who was it? I think that was my grandfather. My grandmother, sorry, Flank, was very into cooking as well. So that skipped a generation. And I'm a slender, ponytailed, antique-clothed, bony-faced, tiny-statured, blunt speech person. So I'm gonna have fun with that. And I have stat bonuses. I've got 8 HP. I rolled an 8 on a D8 for that, and I'm excited about that. 8 HP. And I have a strength of 1, a dex of 6.
Amazing.
Yes.
How does that even happen?
Well, I didn't roll 3 6s. I rolled 2 6s and a 5, but because my dex was so high last time, I got to take the mean average, and I averaged it up. Well, I would have taken the 5 if it was a 6 and 2 5. So I think it's fair to take a 6 with 2 6 and 1 5. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
you got it.
Yeah, but yes, very dexterous. And then a con of 3, an int of 1, a whiz of 3, and a charisma of 2. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right, and you want to throw next to you is?
It's your boy Crankor V, holding up the 80s giant robot tradition of throwing on a letter to the end of your name. Crankor V is I don't know how this happened, but I basically managed to roll myself for this particular adventure. I am of average physique with a bald head, shabby clothing, and a round face. I have average height and squeaky voice. But I do somehow have a passion for marksmanship, which may or may not come up at some point. I can throw. I have a spear to throw, so we'll see if that matters at all. In terms of actual numbers on my defenses, I didn't roll above a 3 for anything, and didn't roll above a 1 for 2 things. So we'll talk about that when it comes up. But I do still, I believe, have my ability to echolocate passed down to me from my grandfather for some reason.
down the generations, all the Crankors now have this like quite large head with maybe like a hint of a blowhole.
However, I forgot to make one roll before we started this stream, and I just finished making it. And boy, oh boy, am I pleased to announce to you the quality of this Crankor's spell pearl. We brought back an oldie but a goodie. It's time for Lightning Bolt.
Ooh.
What? Oh.
Nice.
Yes. Unfortunately, Lightning Bolt charges, the number of charges I have are half my level. I am level 0 or level 1, which means that normally I wouldn't be able to use this.
We'll say minimum 1. Oh.
But I am a 5th generation spellcaster, and the 5th generation spellcaster ability is to double the charges on your spell pearls.
Amazing.
So if minimum was 1, then I guess I have 1, shall we say?
I'm going to give you 1 for now, but if you can level yourself up to level 2, then
then we can have 1.
Yeah, then you can. No, you'll have 1 doubled, so you'll have 2.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. All right, awesome. That's super sweet. Next up, next to Ian, down here we have.
Hi, my name's Annabelle Thinkwell. I'm a 5th generation scholar. I have a passion for music, and I'm very good at playing my horn, but I'm not very charismatic about it. I also am gaunt, have a rat-like face, and am short with limp hair. So I think this is a skilled person, but not necessarily an attractive person, I guess. They're good. They're good at their craft, which is knowing things and playing the horn. As a 5th level academic, there is the ability unlocked of seeing the patterns, which allows me, the player, to make the decision whether or not the scrolls and slugs of our previous generation, the one that just passed, resets or sticks in what we discovered last time. The, I believe, hatred and healing slugs is all we learned. I have chosen to keep those the same. So if we encounter the same slugs, they do the same thing.
Solid.
Yeah, that's a pretty sweet ability actually, because there's certain slugs you'll find that are more common than others, and knowing which ones do what is going to be potentially quite helpful. Awesome. Yeah. All right, so like so many generations before them, these 3 intrepid heroes have been made a questing party. I was going to say sacrifice. A questing party to the Deep Queen's Temple, and they set off away from their island home, waving goodbye to their friends and family, who are oh so sad to see them go, and oh so happy that they were not chosen for this particular duty. That their families have not been endowed with this particular responsibility, and off you go into the sea. I forget who I did this to last time, but go ahead, Ian. What's one bad thing that happens to you on your way to the Deep Queen's Temple? Oh. You're piloting your little Wind Waker boat.
Okay, we're on the boat. I get a splinter from the keel.
Oh no! Yeah, that sounds really awful.
Rudder. If I got a splinter from the keel, that would be a weird thing.
Andy, can you make that worse?
Oh sure. So Flute sees this and he tries to help. And he says, "Stay still. Stop it. I know it hurts, but stop it." So it's really in there. So he takes out his harpoon. Sorry.
Oh God.
That's it. Hold tight. And I take out my harpoon. I'm gonna get it. And I start trying to whittle it in there, but then we hit a wave and it bumps the harpoon forward.
Oh no. All right. And so like what what kind of like what? So what happens? What happens to the harpoon? Matt, tell me what happens with the harpoon once the wave hits.
How's the harpoon doing?
I think that the harpoon is going to jump from Crankor's hand and maybe just like nick a little bit above where the splinter was, so it kind of falls free.
Oh, good.
And it just lands directly in between Crankor V for victory, right below into the boat, but right below their armpit. So it's very bracing.
There's a little bit of like slightly clumsy surgery, but Crankor V comes through it in the end.
Yeah.
All right.
Great
So after
work,
that,
Flute.
Thank you. I tried.
Flute also, Cook and amateur doctor go well together. I think there's a lot of shared alchemy between those two professions.
I could fillet that splinter out of there if it were on a calm placid sea.
Yeah.
I mean, filleting is actually something that could come in very useful for this particular journey. So after that harrowing experience, you managed to make your way to the entrance of the Deep Queen's Temple, and like so many before you, you head down below the waves and below the ground into this very strange open room full of little currents of water that move through it, where it almost feels like little glowing bits of light appear every time you put down your feet, where you can see up above you water, the light patterns coming through the waters that reflect on the whole area around you and illuminate things pretty well so that you can see. And you're in this room that seems very familiar. For those of you who have eaten the sand of your ancestors, this room is one that you have many fond memories of from multiple generations. So the stairs come down, and there are 3 exits, one directly ahead of you, one to the left, and one to the right.
Deja vu all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Once more into the deep.
Should we try to go to that weird mud room I remember from my mother's time passing through here?
Is that the sex room, or which one is that?
That's the one with the currents of water.
Oh, right. No, wait. No, which one? There's a lot of currents of water. Currents of water everywhere.
It has the opening floors. We don't know where the openings go. Maybe somewhere good.
Oh, that one, the one with the map. That's on
yeah.
the. Yeah, sure. We could check out that again if we get to it. If we
That
can
was
find
a
it
cool
again.
one. I've always wanted to see that.
Yeah. It would be great if we get there and there's just a bunch of fish skeletons draped over a ladder.
Presumably a lot of these stories have also like now been told through the generations. Like, it's been 100 years now that your families have been going down in here. So there's probably like you have a mixture of memories and then like extremely exaggerated stories that various of your ancestors have told.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, we should probably pick a direction. And I nominate forward.
Agreed.
Yeah, sure.
Like so many before you, you continue straight ahead. Okay, so here you go through, you go out through a passage, and it kind of opens up into a large area that looks. It reminds you of kind of open water. It has again these channels going through the floor, but it also has a lot of channels coming through the walls in various places that are sort of dumping water out into the room and into the channels that go across the floor. The difference here is that a lot of these channels are a little bit larger. There's some that are like arm size. Doesn't look like you could probably climb into any of them, but if you were, a smaller creature, you might be able to. As you come in, you see that the room is mostly actually pretty empty. There's not a lot going on here, but as you wander in, you do see something comes through one of the channels up in one of the walls, and it kind of like squeezes through and goes clunk onto the ground, and it looks like it might be, I don't know, a bag, a sack, but difficult to tell from across the room. This room has 2 exits, I believe. One directly ahead of you. Sorry, three exits again. One directly ahead of you, one to your left, and one to your right.
Let's check out the sack.
My grandfather taught me it's rude to not accept a gift that's given to you, even if it is by a room.
Okay, so
oh wait, before we open it, I happen to have a 10-foot pole. I would like to poke this.
It.
I'm gonna poke it. I'm gonna poke this bag with the 10-foot ball. Just nudge it. Just kind of
all right.
With it.
So sure, you go over. How are you carrying the 10-foot pole, by the way? Is it strapped to
Donatello
your
style?
back?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's just like that.
Okay, so it's coming out like a fair distance, like to your left
Absolutely.
and right, I think. Because you
And
said you
I'm-
were small in stature too, right?
I am tiny. This is very comical. This is like a dog that has a stick in its mouth that's way too wide, and it has difficult getting through door frames. But I'm used to it, so I'm ducking. I'm doing good. I may not be very mobile with it, but I'm able to compensate, I think.
I want to say like the trip over on the boat was probably pretty interesting as well if you were like carrying that. But okay, so you head over, you pull out this 10-foot pole and start like prodding at this sack. It moves around. It's kind of wet because it obviously was in a current of water. But it seems like there's something hard in it, like a bunch of hard somethings. Quite a few of them, I guess. It's not mushy, is I guess what I'm saying. And yeah, maybe there's like a bunch of sticks or something in there. Definitely some things that are a little bit irregularly shaped. As you're doing that, someone from behind you goes.
Oh God!
And you look behind you to see one little fish person kind of standing there, going, kind of just taking in what you're doing. Maybe providing some unasked for commentary.
Yeah. I say you got to bring your own pole, fish. I keep poking it.
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, it rattles a little bit, clatters.
Annabelle's gonna just like walk over, bend down, directly just open the whole thing up and look inside.
Okay, there's a skeleton in there.
Yeah, I mean,
there's also
all of us.
something else in there, and that is a bunch of sand.
Ooh.
Oh.
I'm giving everyone else a chance.
I feel like we get the most value from Crankor leveling up with the spell pearls.
Yeah, fill your boots, Crankor. Go at it.
All right, Crankor, you imbibe the delicious sand. This is from some other person, but from quite a long time ago, who it seems like had was just a pretty normal, ordinary village potter, and had a good life, and was put out to sea, or was put out to sea. As is the custom, obviously, after dying. And somehow, through the various channels and eddies and currents, their remains seem to have found their way down through the water and into the temple through one of its many water intakes. This is not probably all the sand. It seems like it lost some of the sand from this person en route. So you're getting some of their vague memories, but not like you're not getting any mutations. But it's a human anyway, so you actually wouldn't mutate based off that. But yeah, I think that you're you're going to be gaining an affinity for pottery from eating this person's remains. I think we'll say that. So you can add that to your list of passions if you like.
I am absolutely doing that. Pottery.
And the fish person is like looking at you like you basically like you're taking like you found like $100 bill on the sidewalk and your reaction to it was like stuffing it in your mouth, just like swallowing it. The fish is just like gobsmacked in the most like fish-like way you can imagine, just like probably like went when you were halfway through your delicious
take
meal,
my final
but,
handful and look him directly in the singular eye that's facing me and
it seems like it's done with this crazy with your crazy antics, and it's going to give up and continue wandering out of one of the other exits.
Surface dwellers.
So it's going to the right of the entrance that you came through. And I'll say that the bag was approximately like on the other side of the room from where you entered. But yeah, there's, as I say, there remain 3 entrances or 3 exits from this room beyond the one that you came in from.
I would like to keep the bag. I would like to keep the skeleton bag.
Yeah. Are you keeping the skeleton too?
No, just the bag
okay.
came in. I'm like a child. I'm like a small child Christmas morning, throws the toy away, just plays with the box.
Yeah.
Like I've mentioned earlier, we already all have one.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful.
But this is the size of a sack that I can stuff a person into. That's useful. Yep. I'm putting that in my bag.
You're gonna try and put your 10-foot pole in it or something?
Yeah, maybe wrap it up all nice.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'll say that's 1 slot, maybe. I'll put man sack.
Bob writes down body bag.
Body. Gosh, was it Vice President Cheney who had a man-sized safe?
Yes. I mean, hold on here. Now, before we do anything else, Andy, holding onto a body bag for later use does imply some things are going to happen later.
Oh, I've inherited Flan's ruthlessness. Okay. I've got the art school gene. Something's gonna go down.
The art school gene. I love the picture that this is painting of this art school. I kind of want to like set an adventure there at some point in the future, like Ravenloft, the art school. You've got Strahd, but it's Dumbledore and an artist, and the story writes itself.
That said, we should probably keep moving if we're gonna actually make it to the Deep Queen's lair.
Agreed.
If I remember correctly from our past experiences, if we follow where the fish is going, there'll be a fish village next to the way down. So we should follow the fish.
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, let's see where this guy goes.
Sure. So you head in that direction, and actually, sure enough, Annabelle seems to be onto something, because following the fish, you do find yourself in an area that it's been built up by like a bunch of like mud and crud and whatnot that's been put all over the walls. There's some like sort of ledges that have been assembled and attached to the walls where there's not water that's going to run down through them to hold stuff up. And have supplies and things like that. And sure enough, there is basically a village of fish people. And the fish that you followed is having a discussion with some of the folks who were there about something in the bubbly fish language. You can't understand at all what he's saying. and
That
yeah,
fish is going to be living off this story for weeks.
Yeah.
He's going to be 5 years from now. It's going to. Did I ever say about the time the guy just freaking ate his sand? Your friends will be irritated by it. Anyway, carry on.
The fish, though, as you start to come into the room, seem pretty agitated by your presence. They are not nearly as indifferent to you as the fish was in the previous room. In fact, they start actually picking up clubs, and one of them that looked to be, like maybe whittling something on the front of one of the huts. Definitely might have like a straw hat or something. Definitely gives you the old like that again, that does not translate at all to anything that you would understand. So yeah, they don't look like they're super happy to see you right now. I'm just gonna check here. Looks like we have there are two other exits from this room. One of them is directly across from where you came in. The other one is north, so to the right of the way that you just entered.
Okay.
I think the one straight ahead's the one that makes the most sense for us, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Would we have to get through the village though? Will they not like that?
I feel like if we keep moving and just don't stop and don't like loiter, it will be less of a problem.
Sure, yeah.
I got this team, and Annabelle takes out her horn, and she starts to just play it in a like major tone, like uplifting, kind of friendly, not bellicose, but marching kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just starts marching in a straight line across to the other exit.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, I think that's a great idea. Okay, so yeah, you're playing in a friendly way. As you're doing this, another fish comes in. So there's sorry, I didn't mention how many fish there are. There were 3 fish in this area when you came in, plus the one that you followed. So 4 total. A 5th fish enters as you're doing this, and again looks somewhat confused as to what's going on. Like what did I just? Who ordered the show?
Make way, Icthea and Annabelle Doots as she pleases.
So Annabelle is doing this very determined march, I guess, across doing the Pied Piper thing. What are the other 2 of you doing while Annabelle leads the way?
Following.
Yeah. I take out my 10-foot pole and I start doing some baton, like marching baton things, and dancing a bit like it's a New Orleans second line parade. Maybe encouraging people to join in, just sort of waving. Here we go now.
And I guess
No one can get anywhere near you with that thing.
I'll walk directly behind you, Flute. I'll walk directly behind you, Flute, and work as the receptionist of honor, waving to the crowds and maybe throwing a little candy.
So the fish look intrigued by this. Some of them look intrigued by it. The one that was on the porch looks nonplussed by it and is still like giving you the eye. And you get like that one's looking at you with like a glint in its eye, like it knows something you don't. And then what looked like a pattern on the floor that you were walking into, Annabelle, suddenly a bunch of like little anemone-like tentacles come out of it and try to grab you. And I'm going to need you to make a dexterity save, please.
Well, that is one of the better things that she can do.
Tentacles try to grab you. It's like it's an ongoing theme.
Well, that was a 7 total.
Okay, so that's going to fail the save. This thing is gonna grab you. So it looks like there was like some sort of an enemy secreted under the ground, and so these tentacles, which are secreting vile acid, are going to grapple onto your body and start to burn you for 2 points of damage in total. But you're also restrained, and at this point, the cranky fish. The fish on the porch is going to point his say that he was carving something with a knife, because I did say he was carving something. He's going to point his knife at you, and he's going to go brrr, and the other fish are going to this is enough for them. They're going to start advancing on your position to try and make good on this trap and maybe get some sand out of your bodies.
Oh boy.
So let's roll some initiative. Annabelle, you are definitely the most proactive. Why don't you make the first initiative roll, please?
I'm going to say I'm probably going to die. That's a 5.
That's a 5. So you get to act first. That's great. They're definitely you definitely get the impression that they're coming for you. They're maybe 10, 15 feet away at max, any given one of them, from your little procession, and there are 5 in total, along with the weird tentacle monster that is presently grabbing Annabelle.
Hi, Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, sweetheart.
I'm just gonna have a bath at white.
That sounds like a good idea. I think you should have a bath.
No.
No, you don't want to? That's also fine with Daddy. Whatever you prefer.
Mom, Daddy said.
I think that
All right.
Annabelle will have a bath.
Yeah, that seems like a good plan as well for you.
I think that she's restrained right now, right?
She is restrained. You can make a strength or dexterity check to get yourself out of the restraining tentacles.
Because they're doing damage to me, so I think that's what I will do.
Yeah, you don't really want to stick around in these things. So,
20 total.
okay, 20 total will easily. You manage to untangle the enemy from you, and you see that after you do that, it kind of sucks into this little disc-shaped thing that was kind of affixed to the ground, and it was very easy with all the muck that's around, that's been piled up by the fish and the patterns on the ground that are there anyway. It was very difficult to see, but now you definitely know that it's there and can avoid it. So you get yourself out of that. That's going to take most of your turn this time. So if you want to get something out of your bag or move around or something like that, you probably have time to do that. But beyond that, I think you're probably finished.
Flee, guys. We really need to flee.
Agreed. Let's just get the hell out of here.
I'm into that.
Are we
right.
all just running for the exit now?
Yeah.
So Annabelle is going to be able to get to the exit this round approximately. You're running across the room still. That's still the plan.
Yeah.
Okay. So Annabelle's going to be able to get to the exit. Everyone else is going to be able to get beyond the exit. But the problem with doing that is that if you don't interpose yourselves between Annabelle and the fish are going to get to Annabelle this round anyway, because she spent some time disengaging from the horrible trap creature.
You do not want them to get to me. I have a gasp left in myself at this point.
Okay, I think I'll have to cast a spell.
Okay, so Annabelle's run for the door. What is the other two of you? If you want to engage with the fish, you can do that. If you want to cast spells, you can do that. You are not set in stone for running yet. So what do you want to do with your actions?
Are we in it for the Chombad flute?
Yeah, you got it.
All right, take this then, and I'll point my hand at the of the fish that are charging. Are they all coming at us? Is knife fish coming at us?
Knife fish they're all coming at you.
Okay.
Knife fish is the most determined to come at you.
I would very much like to point my hand directly at knife fish and emit lightning.
All right, I'm going to look up the actual description of lightning bolt in this rule system. So it says a bolt of electricity dances from your fingers. Target creature must make a contested dex save versus your int or take 1d10. So it doesn't look like it functions as per standard Dungeons and Dragons, where you might try and get multiple of them in a line, but that seems fun. So why don't you roll 1d4 plus 1, and you can get that many fish in a line.
1d4 plus 1 is 2 on the die, so 3 total.
3 fish in a
Wow.
line. All right.
I'm
So-
very pleased with this.
Yeah.
So you make you go ahead and roll your damage, which is d10, and I need to make some dexterity saving throws, because they do get to save or not take any damage. So first one passes, second one fails, third one fails. So two of them fail. I'm going to say that it's the 2 that are not the knife one that fail for dramatic effect.
That's
So
fair.
the knife one is a grizzled old fish. It's got some battles under its belt. It ducks underneath the lightning bolt. The 2 behind it, though, just take it full on in the face, and you get they turn into like little cindery silhouettes inside the big lightning bolt squiggle on your page, and the kazap that presumably pervades the room. What kind of damage did you roll?
8.
8?
8.
All right. So yeah, those are fried fish, calamari in the best sense. They have nice little shells around them of charred charcoal. It didn't work out as well as I expected, but regardless, sand blasts out of the tops of their bodies as they fall to the ground. Well and truly crispy crittered.
You want sand? Come and get it.
The old grizzly fish definitely looking somewhat surprised, for sure, but not dead. So that's something for him. Flute, what are you feeling right now?
I am going to spear this fish with my harpoon twice.
Sounds good.
Because I got the battle rhythm going. I got that second line parade rhythm still going. I'm going to go stab on this fish man.
Why don't you do the first stab first? Because you might want to stab something else the second time.
Oh,
So-
that's true. Okay. Well, let's see how I do here. I got my attack roll as 17.
17 is an easy hit on grizzly fish. Roll me some damage with your spear.
Well,
Time for a flute solo.
yeah. And it's not a spear, it's a harpoon, which is a D10, much better than a spear. And I roll a 10.
All right, so yeah, definitely you managed to stick the spear right through the fish, and or the harpoon right through the fish, and because this is 10 damage is pretty darn impressive. So I'm gonna say it's just the inertia from that. You're able to put the fish on the spear and then kind of charge forward with it towards one of the other fish if you want to take your second attack roll with the grizzly fish already impaled, spewing sand in your face as you do it.
Hell yeah, here we go again. Attack roll is a 1.
1. Okay,
That's
so that
not
doesn't
good.
work out. That doesn't work out quite so well. Was that a natural 1?
That was a
It would've been-
natural 1.
Okay, so you're gonna charge forward with a fish still impaled, but then maybe trip and have your javelin go down into the ground and lose 1 point of durability as it against the floor. Still one rather impressive attack. So we've had 3 fish fry. The fish are gonna check morale because that's pretty good. That's pretty scary. So the remaining fish are going to run into one of the huts, and it doesn't really have a door, but it does have like baskets and boxes and things like that, and they're just grabbing anything that they can and sort of starting to pile it up in the doorway, like push it up against the doorway to try and find ways of barricading themselves to stop you from entering, which you might want to do. Let's roll initiative and see how that goes. Flute, go ahead and roll me some initiative.
You got it. I rolled a 1.
A 1. All right.
Another one.
So fish get to go first. One of them, they've managed to pile some stuff up in the doorway, but one of them is going to keep doing that and spend its entire round piling stuff up. The other one is going to sort of like get into position, sort of doing this kind of thing with a spear sticking out the top, and just like watching and waiting. So this thing is taking cover. It if you want to attack it, it's got like a pretty. It's probably disadvantaged to attack it, but it's got a spear, so you can hopefully jab through the barricade at you, and that would appear to be the plan. Your action in initiative. What would you like to do?
I don't know, Crankor. Do we want to just kill this whole town, or have we done enough damage?
Violence violence seems to be working out for us, but we do have a place to be.
We do. We could just.
There's a lot of sand. There's a lot of sand on the ground too. I sure would like some of that for later.
Not anymore, as Annabelle is going to the nearest fish and just gobbling it up.
All right. So Annabelle guzzling down a fish right in front of the other fish too. They're looking at watching you devour the sand of their family members. That feels pretty good. You get 100 experience points from one of the sand of one of the fish, and you're gonna start to feel a little bit different. You get suddenly you understand a little bit more what it is to be a fish, and what it is to be slimy and swim amid the depths, and all the things that Crankor the second maybe experienced, maybe it was Crankor the third, are now coming into your mind as well. But with that comes some fear, a lot of fear. You are not feeling particularly good about your the situation at all. Everything feels like it's scary. The fish behind the barricade are very frightening. Crankor is definitely frightening. You saw the lightning come out of there. You can't trust Crankor because he could make lightning at any time. That would be bad. Flute's also very scary. You could get cooked by Flute if you weren't cooked by Crankor. All these things. So you've inherited the cowardly mutation. This is not going to affect you because, of course, Flute is also so inspiring and awesome in combat that you don't really need to fear anything. But for future reference, future generations, if you pass this down, if somehow maybe Flute's descendant decides not to become a warrior, then it might come more into play.
All right.
Still two fish worth of sand on the ground for those who might be interested in eating them or just picking them up and carrying them.
Actually, do I have time to pick it up or pick up a fish worth of sand?
Yeah. I think you can probably just spend your round like taking the sack or some other container and scooping up the sand that's there, if you want to do that.
Perfect.
There's 2 bodies worth of sand in that body bag now. Maybe more. We'll see what happens in the future.
Cool.
Two fish on the ground, 2 fish in the barrel. Flute, sorry.
I'm going to pick up that nifty straw hat that
Oh,
knife fish is wearing. I'm going to put that on at a jaunty angle. Pick up the knife and pocket it while just eyeing the hiding fish with the spear. So just know that I'm seeing them and they see me.
Yeah, they definitely they do not appear unfazed by this. They cower a little bit lower, Kilroy a little harder, and generally avoid making eye contact, break eye contact with you. In fact, they just want you to go away.
Excellent.
Well, let's make their day.
All right.
Does
so the
that
plan
mean we're killing them or leaving?
Well, it depends whether or not you're a fan of that ancient play, Filthy Heralds. I believe we should, in fact, make their day by leaving.
Agreed. I'm feeling lucky. Let's split.
All right, so out you go, out the door that you'd planned upon leaving from, and that'll take you away from the fish and into what looks like a it's a room that you don't recall. I don't think you've encountered this room before, actually. It is a room that is piled from floor to ceiling with driftwood. There's driftwood all down the walls. It sort of creates like almost walls and a cave that you can walk through. There's a bunch of actually different like little sub passages. If you can imagine a hedge maze made of driftwood, but also kind of three-dimensional, similar, not dissimilar to some of the coral rooms that you were in a little bit earlier, and with little fishies and whatnot, except for not literal fishies, but like fish-like creatures, like skittering through it and finding refuge inside it. That's basically what we've got here. Yeah, there's some vegetation mixed in, and then like little small crustaceans and whatnot that are moving throughout it. Also in this room is a big crustacean. There is a crab in the middle of the room with its big ass shell and its sign. And as you come into the room, it looks at you and goes. And beckons you towards it, and you can see that it's got a little fire there in front of it, and it seems to be telling you that it's ready to come to have you come by. It's open for business.
Oh man, are we gonna finally experience commerce? Is this actually gonna happen? We got a man-sized sack full of sand, baby. Let's spend.
I've missed this crab.
So the crab. It actually you sit down next to the crab, and it reaches into its shell, and it pulls out a piece of equipment. It just has one thing, it looks like, and it is a bow. So it pulls out a bow and places it on the ground in front of you, and then gives you the old click click hiss hiss. Rattle rattle sales pitch. So this bow, for those of you who might know about such things, has definitely seen better days. It is not 100%. It looks like it's definitely been well used, but the string is intact, and you could probably still use it to shoot something. Oh, I guess the crab has some arrows too. It looks like maybe it didn't quite know how the arrows were supposed to be stored, so they kind of look like pickup sticks on the ground next to it. They're all stacked up haphazard, but it's sort of a package of the bow and maybe half a dozen arrows.
To my mystic trained eyes, does it seem in any way special?
If you have an ability that allows you to see whether items are magical, then I can probably give you some more information.
I do not, but
okay.
I do have the ability to imbue them with it. So I figured maybe I might have some resonance.
So in your experience, magical things are very often engraved and heavily sort of
Scrimshod.
Yeah, scrimshod. Exactly. That's exactly the word I'm looking for. And this isn't. Certainly, as part of your enchanting process, you would probably put some magical marks on it. But you also know that that's not required. You can have something that looks relatively mundane. If you have something that you want to do to like try and test this or exercise your knowledge in some way, the crab will certainly let you look at it if you want. But it's not. But yeah, not right off the bat. Can you see whether or not it's magic?
Yeah. Not necessarily anything for me. Either of you need a bow?
Well,
I have a harpoon, and so does Flute.
I do. Now tell me more about the harpoons, because I have a dex of 6. And I know that missile weapons are typically wisdom in this game. So, yeah. I mean, I guess I could throw the harpoon, or I could use the bow and arrow. I'm not really sure it does me much good either. I have a throwy thing.
I think the main use of the bow is that you shoot the bow and then you still have the bow, as opposed to the harpoon, which doesn't quite work that way.
That is
but
true.
You can see, by the way, as you've been talking to the crab, there's a couple of fish people now who are kind of hanging out amid the driftwood and kind of just looking at what's going on.
Okay. Does the crab have anything else to sell?
It kind of gives you the old crab shrug, like it shows you the bow, and it's very interested in showing you the bow. But it doesn't seem to have much else in the way of sales. But it does sort of like gesture to you and go like,
"Oh, do we have anything you guys don't want? Might want to buy from us?"
Yeah, maybe.
I have an extra shield. I can't use it while I use my harpoon.
You should totally sell that shield.
I'm gonna sell my shield, and then I go to sell my shield.
You can.
Sure. Just a second. I'm going to see if I can figure out what a shield might actually get you. If you want to vamp for a second.
Turns out that in the world of the Rasp of Sand, shields are made from the discarded shells of large crustaceans, and in fact, this is a massive form of insult to this crab.
Frankor, you're making it worse.
We all die.
So the crab is going to reach into its shell and it's going to pull a bag of sand out that looks actually quite respectably hefty. It seems like a lot more sand than you got from all three of those fish, for example. Maybe a little more than twice that much, and holds it out.
I hand over my shield and take the bag.
All right, it'll give you the sand, or it'll pour the sand into whatever receptacle you want to hold it in. But yeah, and it'll happily take the shield and look at it and praise it a little bit, and it looks very satisfied as it shoves it back into its shell.
More bodies for the body bag.
So you got 700 sand from that transaction.
I could make so many skeletons with that.
3 more fish have just come into the room and are similarly kind of just looking at what you're doing and trying to be discreet about it, but they're like not very discreet creatures. So like probably like one of them sneaks in and then like touches a piece of driftwood, and there's like this big like as a big beach fort in the corner like falls into the ground, and the fish like, but then yeah, they do look like they're pretty intent on just watching what's going on between you and the crab right now, and paying pretty close attention.
Hey, Flute, you want to give me the old articulated eye?
You bet I do. I put on my hat at the most intimidating angle I can. What?
Make me a charisma attack.
Ooh, yeah.
Roll your a d20 and add your charisma to it.
Will do. Ooh, I got a 19 plus 2 is 21.
Okay. They scatter, I think. They just like a little, it's like a little cloud of fish that's like swimming along at the beach, and maybe you toss a rock in and they're gone. Yeah. Zooming off in all directions.
And Flute goes, "That's right! That's right!" And I turn back to the guy's fish creeps. I don't know what to tell you. It's just... yeah.
You said it.
Yeah. I tried to get my daughter to let me use her castanets for the evening so that I could make better crab noises, and she told me no, that they were hers, and I wasn't allowed. But I will respect her decision. They're her toys. So
excellent. That's nice. It'd be hard for me not to go, well, I bought everything you owned, so. Wait, that shows an admirable character, Jer. I have respect for you.
She's allowed to assert her own independence.
I admire your courage in giving us a child castanets.
Yeah.
She's like a big fan of music class, but it's worked out well. It's worked out well to have her have various percussive toys. She's got a tambourine as well, which is even more fun.
But instead of buying everything the crab owns, we've now added to what the crab owns and taken some of its money. Do we want to just keep moving on?
Team, I think I need a rest because I only have 1 point of health right now.
Okay. Good idea. Well, then I shall, and I take out some of my rations, very, very good rations, because I'm a cook. And I have a little sort of like metal case that I bring out, and I do like a mise en place, and I'm going to cook you something that'll fix you right up, friend. Sit yourself right down and start making Annabelle some food.
Okay, so through this, the crab was actually sort of it seems like it was kind of getting ready to move on when you came into the room. So it's going to sort of excuse itself and thank you for your transaction, and then sort of start hauling its shell out of the room. Now, this one thing I forgot to mention is this room is a dead end, more or less. It doesn't go anywhere else. So if you want to exit, you're going to have to go back the way that you came through the fish village. So
that's awkward. That's so awkward.
Yeah, I'm less of a fan of this. But
you said goodbye to the fish at a party, and then you like went into the parking lot, and they were there again, and you're like, ooh.
Don't worry, team. I can break out my angry horn sounds. That way, they'll know not to mess with us.
Good
but
call.
you can start cooking away at those rations. Making some stew or whatever it is. Describe your rations again. Sorry.
I think I bring out a tiny portable hibachi, and I start really like very, very impressively putting this together. It's very elaborate. There's lots of flipping things up into the air and over my shoulder and behind my back, and I make a lovely little tiny plate of deliciousness, and I offer it.
Yeah, you've probably got some like whale oil or something of the like that makes a nice, really beautiful, even flame. And you're well practiced at this. Yeah, this is probably the best prepared trail rations that you've ever had. Actually, Flute definitely lives up to. Sorry, I forget. Is Flute male or female? I know that Flan was female. Flute doesn't actually have to be either.
Flan was female and was named after. Yes, no. This is how I can track the passions because Flan's grandmother had a passion for cooking and so named her daughter Flan, and she had a passion for art and so named her son Flute.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Flute puts together a. I just was not sure of your pronouns.
That's all right.
Flute puts together a fantastic portable feast for you. And you have an absolutely delicious meal of what exactly were you doing with the rations? You were searing them somehow, or
oh yeah, searing them, getting all the juices, making sure that's all on there. I'd like to think that it's that magic that people are very good at cooking have is they don't have much. They're very simple things, but they apply it in that certain way that makes it. It's impossible to recreate anywhere else. No matter how hard I try, dear. But I make that for Annabelle.
Thank you, Flute. I'll toot my horn for you anytime.
Yeah, toot that flute.
So I think Flute's preoccupied during this. Annabelle is focusing on getting better. So Annabelle, you can do your healing. That is all good. Crankor, you're going to have some time to kill while this is happening. Do you want to do anything with that time?
I do, and I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So my previous heir was two sessions into carving a new spell pearl before they decided it was time to walk back to. Now, would it be untoward for me to maybe have that unfinished spell pearl as my heirloom item
Oh, it's totally fine for you to have it as your heirloom. You can't have it in addition to your heirloom, but it can absolutely be your heirloom.
That I will take them, and I will spend my time carving the final touches onto a new
Oh my
sparrow
gosh,
pearl.
it is complete. I will save the unveiling for when you decide to actually bring it out
Yes.
and show us what it does.
Thank you.
But that's very exciting.
Do you get your charge back for your lightning?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I believe that you have to rest to do that, which you were
And
not
if I'm
doing.
carving, I'm not resting.
You're carving instead of resting, but I can look that up. There is something that's going to happen as you're taking this rest, but you know the dice. Sometimes the dice are very deadly, and sometimes they are otherwise. As you are eating and finishing up carving and sort of like checking things out, you look at the pearl, you're like, oh, that's really good, and you put it down, and there's another round thing right in front of it that's come into the room, and it is a large sort of hemispherical I was going to say hemispherical dome, but that doesn't really work. Large hemispherical piece of glass over top of a cephalopod head and a large structural metal body. As you see a octopus in a mech suit moving into the room, and it's as it comes in and it sees some people are having a fire and a party. It greets you.
Way back.
Yeah.
It
Annabelle
does some-
remembers. Sorry, Annabelle remembers the octopus from a past memory, and in appreciation for the solace that octopus gave the team right before their death from an octopus, toots out on the horn a very pleasant, jaunty little jingle in appreciation.
The octopus starts flipping switches and turning knobs and things like that, and making maybe like pulling little chains and making like whistles and toots and clicks and sounds to try and complement your music and maybe provide some percussion behind it.
Oh, it's a Ringo.
Appropriate. And it's of course changing colors in time with the music as well.
It's a blue Ringo octopus.
7 days, Matt.
So the octopus will sort of move into the room, and it'll kind of move past you and move over to one of the walls that looked like it was basically there's a lot of wood and stuff there, and you haven't spent a great deal of time searching this room, but it sort of moves in through the wood, it finds its little path all the way over to one of the walls, and it does something similar to the previous octopus that you saw. It lets its tentacle out of the mech suit and sticks it into some sort of little hole in the wall, and sure enough, a door opens in the wall, and the octopus goes through and gestures you to follow it.
Hell yeah. Octomech has not steered us wrong yet. Let's do it. You all ready?
Yeah.
Shall we go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Following an octopus is always a good idea.
So this is another octopus workshop. This is similar to the last one that you saw, almost identical. In fact, it's got all sorts of parts and things like that, and it takes this opportunity to slide out of its mech suit onto the ground and start to pick up oil and fuel and repair tools and things like that, and start making tweaks and repairs to its armor, and it gestures over to what looks like some octopus beds of various sorts, and sort of it's like color change, change of color, hue, saturation, and make yourself at home.
Oh, very nice. Gosh, I don't know what to do in here. If we're all I didn't take any damage. I don't need to rest up.
I'm gonna say you probably can't forage for rations here. I think that most likely, yeah, you're not going to be able to find any in this room, and there's just not anything organic here. But if you do want to do,
Flute.
Yeah.
You get to make 2 attacks every time you attack, right?
Yeah.
You need a magic weapon. Gimme.
Oh, with pleasure. And I take out my harpoon and I hand it to you.
And I'll spend my this resting session scrimshawing up your harpoon.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much, my friend.
Annabelle will spend this time relearning how to understand octopus,
okay,
because that was very important last time when Clarabelle ran away from an angry octopus.
did you actually learn to understand octopus last time? I
Yep.
have now forgotten. Oh, I should have been giving you like all sorts of like. Basically, I will give you a flashback as you're learning octopus. You have like some memories of the one-sided conversations that the octopus had with Clarabelle, but you also have these horrible memories of this other octopus that was just like food and crunchy and squishy. In all expressed through colors, as it was gobbling up Flant's sweet brain.
Fatty.
So yeah, the octopus is doing its thing, and at the end of this rest, it will tell you basically that the workshop is only secure for so long, and it will undergo its cleaning cycle now to ensure it is a sterile environment for repair of my equipment. Therefore, I will have to ask you to vacate post haste.
Excellent.
Team, let's go. It's time for the room to clean itself.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, octopus friend. You or your forebears have been very kind to us always, and thank you very much.
Octopus has no idea what you're saying, but it gestures you out the door and changes colors at you.
Cool.
Oh, as we're leaving, I gesture at the octopus. We're trying to go down. Where?
So the octopus will gesture you to follow it, and it will lead you back out into the driftwood room.
Okay.
All right, this is going to be interesting. So it'll lead you back out into the driftwood room, and you follow it through there, and so you follow it through there. There is a fish that had come back into there as you like wander in back into the area. So they keep coming back, and it sees you and it sees the octopus and it just hightails it out. So, but it's going out the only exit because of course that's where you came through. So the octopus takes you through the driftwood room and then into the fish room. So here, the 2 remaining fish and the 3rd fish that you just saw have holed themselves up and are there. But there's also actually a lot more fish. So there's the 2 that were there, and then there's the 1 that came in, and that one has another 7 fish with it. It looks like they've got some charcoal potentially from one of the dead fish, and they've drawn like silhouettes of the 2 fish on the ground, and they're kind of like they're standing around like looking at them, like looking down, and and then one of the fish that was there before, like you come in the door and it points at you and it's like, and so the 8 fish look up at you, and then they kind of see the octopus coming, and they're like, and they let's see what happens.
Okay.
They're gonna
on a little CSI here.
Yeah, I was about to go. One of them puts on his sunglasses.
Well, the C, of course, being spelled SCA.
CSI. Yeah, CSI Deep Queen's Temple. So they're gonna back up and they're gonna stay. They're gonna start sort of heading in and around and behind the huts. They are looking like they are kind of ready to go at you, but they are very afraid of this octopus. Like extremely afraid. The octopus kind of just ignores them. It doesn't pay much attention to them at all. And it continues through the fish room. And it's going to go back into the first room that you went into, the sort of open water one. And it will gesture to the south of that room. So to your right as you enter it. So the and as it does that, as you're in there with the octopus, another creature actually comes through the door that you were going to go through, and it is yet another crab dragging its shell, and it stops, and this one is a very excitable crab. It's like, and it starts like gesturing at the octopus, and like it starts pulling, reaching into its shell, and it's very excited to show off something to the octopus. As that I am just about to roll, because this is a random encounter, so we will find out what it is going to try and sell the octopus. It has a slug in a jar that it is trying to sell the octopus, and it's pretty excited to do this. The slug is it is not one you recognize. It is gray with pink bumps. So and the crab is excitedly showing it to the octopus, and the octopus is like picks it up and kind of like appraises it and is wondering like, will this be good? I don't know, I'm not sure. And it sort of like shows it to you, like color change. You want?
Yes, we do want. Toot toot.
Okay, so the crab is turning its attention to you. Click, 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 click. Scratch. Kind of show me the money situation.
Oh. You have to make this octopus a favor that it cannot refuse. Wow. The direction on that one's kind of difficult.
Basically, the octopus is just asking you if you want the first chance to buy it. It's not offering to buy it for you. So it's the crab wants to know if you want to pay for it.
Well, we got lots of sand. He got lots of sand for that shield, and we got some extra cash in the body sack. We could probably buy this thing, I think.
Just save 100 for me.
Yeah.
I need to make skeletons.
So it's actually quite expensive to buy this slug. You show it some sand, and it kind of gestures like more, and you show it more sand. I don't remember exactly how much you're carrying. I think it's around 700. Is that right?
Yeah. 200 for the first 2 bodies, 500 past. That sounds correct.
Yeah. 700 is the number coming to mind for me.
Sorry. It was like there was 500 in the bag, which you ate, and there was the 2 bodies, and then 700. So it was 900 that you have. It is not enough. You might want to note though that you have 900 sand total, because that's you could eat it and someone could gain a level. So, or almost probably.
Okay. I guess no deal then, eh? could.
No deal.
It sort of like gestures like.
Anything to trade, guys?
I wish I knew
Ooh,
what this thing did.
I think I've got a shield that I'm not using.
All right. It would take the shield and the sand that you have as payment for the slug.
All of it?
All of it.
Yeesh.
I'm game.
All right.
I'm basically
So-
dead at this point.
So yeah, that is a gray slug with pink bumps.
No
All
longer
right.
have a shield.
We finally bought something. Well done, everyone.
Commerce achieved.
We've
All
done
it
a
took was
capitalism.
selling 2 shields.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the crab is happy is happy with this deal. It's got a shield it can sell to someone else. It asks the octopus if it wants to sell it to buy the shield. The octopus doesn't seem very interested, and both creatures are going to go their separate ways and let you go about your business.
Let's
Sounds
go
great.
south, team. That's where the octopus wanted us to go.
You bet.
So,
They've been incredibly reliable so far, so I see no reason not to continue on.
Mm-hmm.
so this room is quite bizarre. It's got a 30-foot high ceiling that is covered with plants that sort of hang down. So it's almost like you're going through a kelp forest, but the kelp forest is upside down. There's all sorts of vegetation, and in fact, some like rocks and other things suspended from the ceiling. It looks like there's some rocks suspended in the vegetation. Interestingly, this area is darker than most of the rooms that you've encountered before. So it's low light, which will make it difficult for you to see unless you have a light source. Do you have a light source?
I have not swapped out Illuminate.
So wait a minute, you do have Illuminate or you don't?
Ooh, actually, no, you're right. I do not have Illuminate. My apologies. Yeah, I would
Because
have
I think you just have your new pearl.
Correct.
Was the one item that you kept. Does someone have a torch or
I
some
have
other?
I have 3 torches, so
Aha!
I'd be happy to use one.
Okay, well,
Drink
you
up some
can
flint.
easily light one of those things off your Coleman stove if you want to provide some light.
Certainly.
So you light it up, and you hear something moving around above you through the seaweed. I don't know. It's a almost like a strange sensation that there's something moving up there, and then it kind of goes away.
Crankor, didn't you inherit something from your father?
That's a good point. I should yell really loud and see what I see. Ah!
Okay, well that'll work. So there are another thing that you have been acquainted with due to your ancestors' experience. There are some slug monkeys that are up sticking to the ceiling of this room, and they are kind of following you around in a fashion that makes you think that maybe they might be a little bit dangerous.
Should I do an angry doot at them? Would that help?
I mean, it hasn't hurt yet.
Okay, I'm gonna do an angry doot. Should I roll Dex or Charisma?
I would say go ahead and roll some charisma. That seems, unless you're doing some like very fancy fingering, probably this is a charisma based challenge that you're attempting.
Okay. Like in my mind, Annabelle is like highly technically sound on the horn, but cannot read the soul of the music at all.
Like Kenny G.
Yeah.
He put all his soul into his hair.
With my charisma bonus, that is a 9.
Okay. So you make a loud toot, toot, toot. And it definitely, it doesn't seem to affect the slug monkeys that much. They keep following you. Cranker, I'm not sure if your echolocation is like if you're keeping it up or if it's
Unless I'm mentioning I'm keeping it up, it's just a single blast, sort of.
okay. But you get the sense that of movement suddenly again, and actually you. I'm going to say that you can see some movement in the weeds around you, and the slug monkeys have started. They're on the move. They're moving in a direction. Sorry, I need to do one more check here to see where the exits are to this particular room. There are 3 exits, of which you came through 1, and so so there's 1 exit directly ahead of you, and there's 1 to your right. The slug monkeys are moving. They were kind of coming up behind you as you moved like south toward the center of the room. They looked like they were maybe getting ready to jump you from behind when you tooted. But suddenly there's a lot of movement, and they are moving like really far away to the west side of the room. So away from you toward the wall that does not really have any exits on it. They're suddenly quite terrified. It seems like maybe that's reading too much into it. They move away quickly and make some noise and make a lot of movement. Then, because you have your light going, something comes in the entrance to this room opposite the one that opposite the direction that they went, and it is this big like sort of swarm of hundreds or thousands of creatures. They're like krill or something, very very small shrimpy things. They form, as I say, sort of a cloud or a mist as they sort of spiral into the room, all moving as this gigantic group. And they kind of move up into the seaweed as they go, and you see that any sort of fish or anything like that that's in the area of them gets kind of absorbed and more or less disappears as it gets pulled into the mass.
Wow. Okay, I would like to. Do these things? Oh, it's a swarm of krill. It'd be hard to see what it. Do they appear attracted to the light at all? Attracted to my torch?
They appear to be moving in your general direction, but they because there's a lot of life in the seaweed above you. They seem to be very interested in sort of moving among the seaweed, but they're kind of moving in your direction for sure. Not sure if that's intentional toward the light or what. The slug monkeys are now sort of like moving north toward the corner of the room that is you've got the exit to the south and the exit to the east. They're moving into sort of the northwest now, and they're definitely making some noise and movement as they move there. Get the sense that maybe they're trying to stay away from the shrimp.
Should we get moving, team?
I'm wondering if we might want to do that. Maybe even leave this particular torch right here in this room, and then maybe we can light up a new one later.
Sure, I've got 3 torches, so that's fine. So I happily leave that in the middle of the room and back away from it.
Okay, drop the torch and just run for it.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so, good plan, team. And then the duding that Annabelle's doing speeds up in tempo as we start moving.
So Annabelle, everyone else leaving the torch behind, trying to be subtle. Let's just make it be a hasty retreat. Annabelle announcing boldly the location of the group. If the squid care to follow anything like vibrations in the air, seems like a good plan. All right, so you head south, and you find yourself in another room that is similar to it's like very wide open. It has more channels sort of moving through it. It has you have the sense that it is again sort of a general meeting of a lot of these currents, a place where a lot of these things come together. And this one has a difference about it to the other one in that it has all of these checkerboard-like patterns on the floor that you have seen before, or at least your ancestors have seen. So channels run into these little checkerboard-like things, and as you run in, it just looks kind of like a checkerboard, but you have seen something like this before, and you know it is not quite exactly like that.
I believe it was the white pools that was recommended to step into. Those were the safe ones. Is that right?
I think so.
I'm gonna say it's up to you to remember that.
I remember there being a statue too, but I don't see one here.
Yep, no statue this time. There is, though, I'll say in one corner of the room, looks like a box, maybe. Yeah, so, sure. It's a crate, sort of like busted up crate. Water moving past it, just kind of sitting on one of the white squares.
All right. Well, I want to check that out.
Yeah. I know that our ancestors figured out the pattern by watching the water flow for a minute or two. And I think even if we don't quite remember it, we can see if the white or the black squares are safe or not by doing that.
Seems good. Would we have to take a rest to do that and risk other things coming in?
Yeah, I'll say that to observe the pattern and see what's going on, you probably would need to, hang out here for a little bit and watch when they pop open. You're pretty sure you remember when what causes which of the panels to pop open. But if you wanted to observe again, you could definitely do that.
Okay. Well, then how about, just to be safe, because I've kept that 50 feet of rope. That's a very useful thing, and so I'm going to tie that around myself, my tiny little body, and hand the other end to Crankor and say, I'm going to go check out that cool crate thing. If I fall through the floor, please pull me up.
Okay.
Let's see if that happens.
Yeah. So just in case, like one of the ones that you walk over. Of course. All right. So you're walking over these things, and you did figure out before that they are kind of weight based. So you step on one of them, and it does start to fall away under you. And I'll say you actually fall into it, but then you're caught by your 10-foot pole, which stops you from being able to fall down inside it. So you're sort of suspended by the 10-foot pole, and the thing closes on your body. Doesn't actually you stop it from being able to close, and it doesn't actually close with enough force to seriously injure you, but it is quite amusing.
Oh, good.
Is that just half a flute? I believe ooh, then you'd be playing piccolo, and that would be a different system.
You beat me to it, Horner. You beat me to it.
Where that does get awkward, though, is in the out of the one of the rooms that, or one of the ways that you did not come through. 6 fish come through it, and they look at you, and one of them points. It's like brr, brr, brr. So there's 5 of them plus one of them who's obviously the leader. This is the one that was doing a bit of a Poirot impression before, and it pulls out a spell pearl and gestures menacingly in your direction. Why don't we roll some initiative, and we can see what happens from there. I think, Ian, you're the only one who hasn't rolled initiative yet, so I would like to see that, please.
That is going to be a 1.
A 1. Excellent. All right. Well, the fishies get to go first then.
Thanks, Google.
All right. So the fish, the fish that seems to be in the lead, the one with the spell pearl, points at you, and so some fish, the other 5 fish are going to start walking over towards you. I'll say that 3 of them walk towards Crankora and Annabelle, and 2 of them start moving towards Flute, who is suspended at this point. The problem is that they're not paying much attention to how they're moving through the room. So 2 of the fish that are moving towards Cranker and Annabelle are going to end up stepping about together on, one of them gets on and the other one gets on, and the weight displacement becomes enough that the thing starts to open up underneath them. And so, well, yeah. So one of them just goes down the chute. Who knows where it went? The other one jumps off and just, but that was almost pretty bad for that fish. And who knows where the other one went? It's gone. Never going to see it again. The of the 2 that are going towards Flute, they step together on one of the black squares and down and away. No idea where they went. And the one with the spell pearl is just like gesturing to the ones that are walking over towards you guys, and they turn around and come back, and they're gonna stand at the edge of the room in that passageway, and they're gonna shake their fists at you, but they're a little bit scared to walk over this floor because obviously it's more problematic than they initially realized. Your initiative. So we had 5 plus the one with the pearl. We now have 2 plus the one with the pearl, standing in the door and trying to figure out how they're going to go about attacking you, or whether they will run to fight another day.
Should we pull really hard?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to. Yeah, I want to give Crankor that spell pearl because he gave me this freaking cool magical harpoon. So I feel like there's a tit for tat coming. So what I would like to do is I would like to roll to flip up out of this hole and then chuck this harpoon directly at the head of the pearl holding fish.
Okay, so I think that we'll do this the way that we've done this kind of before, and that's that getting out of this hole is not the easiest thing, but if you're particularly strong or particularly agile, you can probably manage to do it. So why don't you make me a strength or dex roll, your choice, and see if you can vault yourself out of the hole.
You bet I'll do
and
it.
then still have time to attack.
Sure, I'll do dex. As a 13 plus 6.
Okay, so that'll do it. Yeah, you're able to do a little like grab the thing and maybe like put it around behind you and do a little flip over it and vault yourself up out of the hole, and still have time to chuck a javelin or whatever else.
My harpoon, which I will name Queequeg because it is now magical and deserves a name.
All right.
I will. So yeah, exactly. Just sort of like the Summer Olympics that we're all missing right now. Just as a flip up into the air, puts the pole back on the right side, takes the harpoon out of the left, and in midair throws it at this fish man's head.
All right. Make me an attack roll.
You got it. I got a 16.
16's enough to hit. So roll me a damage roll for that harpoon.
Woo! I got a 4. Yeah,
You got a 4.
I only get advantage with attack rolls with the cool thing, and it hit, but I got a 4. I aimed first 4 hit.
The important thing is that you hit.
Yeah.
So you plant it in the skull of the fish, and it goes down. It goes right. These fish are not actually that strong. You've just been running away from them a lot. It goes right through the skull of the fish, plants it into the ground, and the 2 fish remaining next to it kind of go ooh, and down it goes. Annabelle and Crankor, what would you like to do?
That's Bill Pearl.
Annabelle feels really uncomfortable about seeing fish die at this point. She's getting a bit clammy under the collar about it.
All right, yeah.
Maybe you need to develop some muscles.
Ooh.
You enough barnacling from me. I'm going to.
No.
Sorry. I'm never sorry. I'm gonna. It's time to debut the brand new spell of the Crankor clan.
Uh-oh.
Behold, Swarm.
Swarm. All right, what's it do?
At that point, I will turn into a swarm of small sea life, be they let's say tiny shrimp or something, crabs or piranhas for that matter.
Okay.
At that point, I can then occupy the same space as another creature, and I may choose to deal 1d6 damage to that creature per turn. So I would like to go occupy the same space as that spellcasting fish over there.
I think this is a great idea. So, sure, Crankor, what kind of sea life do you want to be specifically?
Oh, specifically, small sea life specifically. Let's go with
I mean, you can choose any kind of sea life you want and just make it small. That's the other thing, right? You want to be a bunch of tiny krakens, you can do that. I guess that would just be shrimp, but be whatever you want to be.
Let's go with one of my favorite small sea life. Le petit poisson. The fish, she is so small. The breezling sardine.
Okay. So, Cranker, go ahead and describe to me how you turn into a swarm of sardines that I guess crawl and flail along the ground and move through the water channels and devour these two remaining fish.
Well, it's just a matter of where once there was Crankor, there is now just a Crankor-shaped mass of fish that just disintegrates head down until it reaches this these rivulets of water that then swim and splash in almost a insect-like fashion, rolling over itself. If you've ever seen the Ghibli film Spirited Away, when the bad oil takes a hold and starts rolling over itself in almost a tide of its own towards its prey. It's like that, but with tiny fish.
Yeah.
That then make their way towards this fish, basically attacking it at what would be shin height on a fish, and then attacking with such force and that it manages to knock it just over, and then completely. I was just
imagining the fish sort of standing upright and then slowly just sliding downward as they're.
Nope, that is what happens now.
As they're blenderized by mini Cranker sardines. Yeah, I think that works. I think that just happens. Okay, so yeah, you eat the fish. They leave their sand behind. You can restrain yourself from eating that if you wish or not.
I will.
There was already some sand in that area, but yeah, that's gonna work just fine.
Are there any other ones alive now?
It's probably down below you somewhere, but. Possibly, depending on what the slide was like. Flute could probably tell you a little bit more, but
I have an important follow-up question, actually.
Sure.
I've just turned myself into a swarm of breezing sardine. There is nothing in the spellbook that says you change back.
I'm pretty sure you change back.
Okay.
I think that most spells have a duration that lasts for an encounter or a rest. So if you want to take a rest, you will turn back into Crankor. If you want to move into another room, you'll turn back into
I just
Crankor.
want to be basically very sure.
Yeah. So yeah, you've done that. You've easily dispatched the fish. You have left them as naught but sand, and you have this room with the box and the checkerboard. I'll say that you can, after this, get over to the box. It is someone's little stash. It seems like there's a bit of sand in there, and it looks like there's a piece of gear in there as well. Couple of glass buoys. They are they're almost iridescent in their color, but they're the kind of thing that you would use to show where you put down a fishing line or a crab trap.
I can carry those if we want to keep those.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Well, that's cool. And I'm gonna while they're looking in the box, I'm gonna maneuver my way over there and pick up Queequeg again.
Oh yeah,
and say,
can you get that
for sure.
Spell pearl for me as well while you're over there?
You got it,
300 sand and a spell pearl. So that's also
excellent.
good.
I put all the fish because I don't think I'm mixing it to put the more fish. I put it all in the body sack, and I grab the pearl and Queequeg and I maneuver over and give the pearl to Crankcore.
Hooray!
Sweet,
thank you.
Crankcore, I think you need to take a rest to identify it, or you might need Annabelle to identify it for you. I don't recall.
Okay.
Let's see.
This hasn't come up before.
Yeah, finding an unusual spell pearl.
I can identify slugs or scrolls.
I think it just makes sense to say that you probably can just look at it and identify it.
Okay.
I could do an arcane study on it. Would that work?
I think it makes sense to just say a magician can identify what one of these pearls does. It's like their whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's
like handing me an iPhone and saying, "What's this? Which phone is this?"
So, Cranker, this is one that goes back in your family. You've seen this one before. This is Ward.
Ooh.
This is the one that you choose a type of creature and ward off a room from that type of creature.
Oh, no, it's back in my possession. Excellent. Let's put that back in the slot.
Anything else you folks would like to do?
I would like to look at the ceiling of the room to see if these fish people came back with the ladder and actually did anything with it. Is this the same room with the map and the mud on the walls and the cold to hot?
There's no map or mud on the walls or anything like that. So it's the same like floor thing, but the rest of the room is not the same.
Okay. And we took a rest. Did we?
You haven't taken a rest in this room yet. No.
Okay.
Shall we just keep moving then?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Which way? Straight ahead? Left? Right?
Well, now before we go, I don't know, because we are trying to get down, and there are these holes that open up to go down.
Yes, I'm 100% on board with this idea.
I don't know if they go down to a pit of spikes in the classic dungeon sense, or a pool of acid or something. I don't know how we'd be able to find that out.
Now, as a pile of fish, would I be able to just fall through that without damage?
Probably, yeah. If you are still a pile of fish, you can absolutely like hang out on top of one of the ones that you know is going to open until it opens and fall down. Getting back up could be more of a problem, but you can try it out if you want.
Crankcore, can you send just one of your fish to experience the slide?
Yes, but I don't know what it's thinking. It's very odd being 1,000 things at once.
Gosh, I bet.
Yeah, that's a good question. Whether you get to reabsorb its sensations if you don't reabsorb the fish.
Yeah.
Or if it got lost down there and you changed back and you wake up and you one of your kidneys is gone. Like it's just that is to say, like you lose a part of your body if that fish goes away entirely.
Ooh, that'd be a problem.
In any case, do you want to think about this for a couple of minutes while we take a quick break? I've got to go put my daughter to bed, and it's probably about time for a commercial break, as we got about half an hour, 40 minutes left in the stream. So let's take a quick break. I will go say goodnight, and chat. We will be back with you to figure out how exactly we want to deal with this potential idea of using the room to our advantage after this. So catch you soon. And we're back. Welcome back to a Rasp of Sand, episode 5 and generation 5. 555. Is that a video game? No, that was 999.
Oh, you think we have VVV?
Oh, right, that's the one.
Ah.
So you are in a room that has all sorts of pits that you figured out open and close beneath you. It's checkerboard shape, and you were talking about maybe like trying to game the trap because down is the direction that you want to go. I'm intrigued to hear more about this cunning plan. So please describe to me how you are going to game the trap to take you where you want to go.
So if I fall down as fish, I at least won't die and should be able to, if nothing else, let you know what's down here.
That's
After
true.
you die and come back in 20 years.
No. That's the thing about small animals is they can fall for great distances without having any sort of injury.
I assume that there's, I mean, of course, spells in this game are like 2 lines long. They're like a sentence, right? So I like that you can talk while you're a swarm of sardines. I'm just sort of like amused by the mental picture of like all these sardine, like tiny sardine voices, like really high, really squeaky sardine voices talking as a gestalt to make say what you're trying to say.
So yeah, we'll attempt that. I was assuming that I would turn back to human before I attempt to talk to them from the base. But yeah, it makes a good point that I would have to be still talking to them as fish now.
So like, is this the plan? I'm not sure how I will tell you that I'm not certain how you're planning to get back up after you go down, but I'm very intrigued to see how you sort that out. So yeah, I would say go for it if that's what you want to do.
So just for you guys, I have no plan of being able to get back up after this. It's just a way of making sure that you're able to get down safely after me. I don't know why I went all Mickey all of a sudden. Don't worry about it.
Alternately, because this also sounds fun, so I kind of want to do this. But alternately, the mechanism in the floor that closed on me didn't kill me, and I wonder, because I'm very small and pretty light, if you guys, and I do have this 50-foot rope, you could just tie it around me, lower me down. If it closes on the rope, does it seem like that would snap the rope if I was being lowered down?
Better yet, we could put a hilt of the spear next to the rope so that it won't close on the rope.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. I like that.
And
that
I
seems
have
like
another. I have another 50 feet of rope as well.
That's 100 feet of rope. You know what? I like this idea.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, so Flute is going to have is going to be tied up with a rope. You're going to lower the rope down. Flute, your 10-foot pole is going to do a very good job of holding the rope in place, but it's not going to be able to it's going to make it very awkward to try and go down through this if you're trying to like carry it. I mean, you could like line it up with your body, but it might like tip and get caught.
Sure, I could leave the pole and Queequeg on the surface for practicality. But I mean the floor we're on now, as I'm being lowered
I mean,
down.
Queequeg is only like 3 or 4 feet long, but the pole is 10 feet long, and there's a significant difference there.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So Queequeg is okay, I think. 10-foot pole could be very awkward. Anyway,
Okay,
so but yeah, I think that this is a pretty good plan. So you put a bunch of weight on one of the white tiles, maybe wait a little bit for it to fill up with some water, etc. It pops open. You kind of jam it open with a spear or some such to keep it from closing on the rope. You lower the rope down, and you with you at the end of it as the anchor, and down it goes. And so this is like kind of a slide, almost like a pipe. It doesn't go straight down. It sort of tilts and moves a little bit, and maybe has like a section where it kind of goes almost flat and then continues going down. But sure enough, it eventually does open up into like the tunnel opens up in a vertical opening. So you could like kind of look down out of it and hold yourself in place a little bit. There's water that sort of rushed down it when the thing opens, and of course the whole mechanic of this trap is that water dribbles into the tiles. Of course, it's now dribbling down, so it's a little bit like a water slide. If you weren't on a rope and weren't able to like hold yourself in place, you do think that it would be difficult for you to suspend yourself in any one place as opposed to just slipping down. As is, you can communicate back to your friends, and they can lower you down at a rate that you're comfortable with, and so you are able to get yourself into a position where you can kind of look at the room below you through this opening. The two of you up there, the thing keeps on trying to close and getting caught on the spear, and then kind of opening again, and then trying to close and opening again, and so on.
Like something caught in an automatic door. It's just
yeah.
Ka-chunk.
So what you're seeing down there is coral. You're seeing a whole bunch of a big sort of canopy of coral, actually very similar to what you saw last time that you ended up going down into the coral reef, because you didn't go down a staircase or anything last time. You also went down sort of a tunnel. So very similar experience. You're looking down on a coral canopy. That looks quite thick. It looks like there are sort of tunnels and things like that move through the coral. Some of it's stable, some of it is a little bit more not. But there's almost like tunnels and passages moving through it. Actually, all I can think of now is like if you've ever been in an attic in a house that has had mice, and the mice have tunneled through the insulation and left all sorts of like little tiny mouse-sized tunnels. It's like that, but the tunnels are like more or less person-sized, maybe like a little bit smaller, and it's like a nice 3D maze / piece of Swiss cheese that you have gained access to.
Very cool. And where is my vantage point in looking at this stuff? Am I like in the ceiling looking
from
down,
above?
or am I from above?
Yeah.
How much?
If they weren't holding on to you, you would slip and fall directly on top of the coral. And the water that's coming through your tunnel is just sort of like cascading out. There's not a lot of it, right? There's just a little bit of it. It's cascading out and then sort of dripping onto the coral and dripping down into the room below you. There's still pretty good light down here. The light sort of diffuses through the semi-transparent walls and ceiling that you are kind of part of. It's weird, actually. If you like look up, you can kind of see your friends up above you as well through the 50-ish feet of transparent wall, but they're very murky, and if you didn't know it was them, it would be difficult to tell them apart from any other sort of moving moat throughout. But yeah, it's that's more or less the situation.
I see.
Are there any angry fish people in the room that fell through the pipes above?
Yeah, actually, I think that there are some fish people. I forgot about that, Matt, but you're right. There are some fish people who are sort of looks like moving down through the coral, trying to make their way from the top up where you are down to presumably where there might be some floor or something. They haven't noticed you though, from your very sneaky above them, golden eye up in the vent above the bathroom vantage point. So yeah.
Okay. Well, then I guess I shall climb back up this rope and report on what has happened. Because does this look like if we went down this water slide without the rope, that this would be a fatal water slide? This would not be a government-approved water slide.
I don't think that fatal is the right word. I think that it looks like it would not be a soft landing particularly. Like the coral would break your fall and the coral would break. Coral is not known for being the most spongy and yielding substance in the world. You would not get a pillowy landing. In fact, you have this vague memory of someone that you knew getting a big piece of coral through their arm, and it really hurt.
Flute experiences a phantom pain. Still don't know if that was poison or not. But okay, well, good to know. Well, then I do climb up the rope, and I said, well, it looks like it'd be fun for a little bit, and then not so fun at the end. There's that cool coral forest down here. There's a couple of fish guys climbing down it. I think we could like get through these holes and maybe brace for impact and get through. I mean, I suppose there's 100 feet of rope. Did it look like there was enough rope for us to climb all the way down if we used all 100 feet without hurting ourselves?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think if you tied both ropes together, all of you could probably just climb not only down to the top of the room, but like down through the coral. Assuming that you could like find a path through the coral. That could take a little bit of doing, but yeah.
Okay, well, I report all of that back.
So should we just climb down the rope after tying it on something up here?
Absolutely. And in fact, I think we should definitely go all as far down as we can. Right through the coral, in fact.
Sure, sounds good to me.
What are you going to tie it to?
The 10-foot pole.
We could do that. Yeah, we could jam the 10-foot pole someplace and
like across the edge of the top of the hole.
Right. Yeah.
The 10-foot pole would work across the edge of the top. I want to know how many people are climbing down the rope at once if you're doing that solution.
Always only one.
Yeah, I think that'll work. So a couple of things are going to happen. Who's going first?
I think I should go first just because I'm the most armored up and I can attack twice. And if these fish people want to fight me, I stand the best chance. Okay.
So Flute goes down, starts like working his way down. The pipe, that's pretty easy because it's very easy going. You're working with gravity. You just got to make sure that you don't fall too quickly. You get down to the coral forest. You don't really see the fish anymore. You're not sure what happened to them. They've wandered off or something. So you climb back down. You climb down, and you're sort of like making your way through the coral. It's kind of difficult to move through, but you are able to find sort of a way that allows you to more or less get to the ground.
Sure.
So who's next?
I think I should go next because Crankor can defend himself with sand and pearl, and I am weak and frail, and all I have is horn.
All right, so Annabelle's going down second?
Yeah.
Okay, so Annabelle, you again, you're lowered down. You're able to control your descent with the rope. That's no problem. This is a good plan, so good plans should work. The Cranker, as with Flute, you can see that the pole is bending a little bit underneath under the weight of Annabelle. Annabelle's not quite so small as Flute was, so maybe it's bending a little bit more, but it seems like it's going okay.
It's good cured wood. It'll hold.
As you're watching this, Cranker, something you see something hopping into the room, and it is a creature that you have definitely seen before. They're sort of like gull-sized, flightless seabirds. They're really mangy. You've definitely encountered these before. They are gulchers, and there's a few of them that are kind of hopping into the room and looking at you. Now, one of the things with gulchers that they like to do is they grab shiny things from people and run away with them. That's their favorite thing to do. So that's they're kind of taking an interest, checking out what's going on in the room, and they're pretty light. And you see as they move through the room, it seems like they might have been here before because they're hopping from black square to black square, and they're sort of they're kind of on the other end of the room. Probably nothing to worry about. Flute, down where you are, you feel the water is moving rather quickly all of a sudden, and you get the sense of sort of like a sound coming from somewhere that is quite sounds like quite a lot of water moving and being displaced all at once.
This sounds familiar, Flute.
It really does. Okay. Well, I have a. Is Crankor down here too, or is it
No,
just me?
Crankor's still. So Crankor's up, Flute is
Yeah.
down, and Annabelle is neither halfway up, so she's neither up nor down.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the knife I got from Knife Fish, Knife Whittling Fish, and I'm going to cut off about, say, if the rope goes all the way down to the floor, I'm going to cut about 5 feet worth of rope with my knife very quickly. And the same plan as last time. I'm going to find some of the spongiest coral, get myself up in there, lash myself to it.
Okay. So yeah. This I think is gonna work as well as it did last time. So you like tie yourself around something and you try and give yourself some padding, and the water roars through. And like last time, it's not as bad as that first wave. Like there was that first wave that hit you that one time, and God, it was bad. Like it swept you multiple rooms away. And this, like it goes over you. It definitely immerses you. You have to hold your breath, and it's very, very uncomfortable for a little while. Annabelle, you get the sort of the cheap seats view of this from up above. You see Flute sort of down through the coral, and then like Flute's gone. It's just water, and then the water dissipates, but Flute's still there, and more or less in the same spot as before. Crankor, these birds are getting a little closer, and it seems like they're very interested in some of the things that you have about your person. Most particularly, the nice sparkly pearls that you have secreted about you.
I bet
they're very, very shiny. They're kind of giving you the kind of noise, and yeah, they're kind of hopping over towards you across these tiles. So we're at the point where I think we're gonna get ready to roll initiative. But if you want to, to act proactively, maybe I'll give you the opportunity to do that. There's 6.
Oh, jeez.
And the size of like small dogs, like like pug-sized seagulls. They actually maybe
breathing just as hoarsely.
Yeah. And like gross, missing plumage, scabs.
People give vultures a bad rap a lot, and I know that role playing is supposed to challenge you as a person, so you're really making it hard for me to want to say that I have to sandblast these birds, or at least one of them.
All right, I think that that is something that you can do. So let's just take a look at sandblast again. I don't remember whether it like kind of is an area of effect. I think it more or less works like that. Sure.
Like a cone or something.
Yeah. It's just to blast a creature, but again, like it makes sense for it to be kind of conical. So maybe
psychological effects for non-targeted.
Maybe roll 2d3. So roll a d6 with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like 1, 2 is 1, 3, 4 is 2, 5, 6 is 3. Do that. Roll that twice, and that'll tell you how many of these gulls that you can get in your cone of sand.
2d6. So we have a 2. That's a 1, and a make the window wider. 6, which is a 3.
Yeah, so 4 of them, which is pretty good. Go ahead and blast those gulls.
I will take that. That is 1d10 damage. Roll in for a total of 9.
Sorry, I missed. If you said a number, I missed it.
Oh, sorry. It was a total of 9.
Oh,
9. Wow. That's amazing. So I'm happy to report that 3 of the 4 gulls failed their dex save. So that's really good for you. And
look, I've seen gulls drop I've seen gulls drop single French fries. They are not dexterous beings.
Yeah.
So, so 3 of them fail their save. 2 of them have low enough hit points to be just obliterated and fountain out some more sand.
Ooh, good.
On demise. Another one looks very badly hurt. So you have 3 that are unhurt, 2 that are dead, and 1 that is very, very badly hurt.
Very hurt.
And now let's just go into initiative because that seems correct. So Cranker, you can go ahead and roll because you are the only one in a combat-y situation.
That's a 4 on the die.
Okay, it's your go. So you they were hopping towards you, but they had to move carefully. You were able to take the initiative to blast them, but now go ahead and make your next round action.
Oh boy, I've got 1 more sand left, but I think at this point it's just time to. Oh boy. This is unfortunate because I have very low hit points. Wait, green circle around the room. Let's stab him. Let's stab him with a spear.
The one that's badly hurt.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Specifically.
Go ahead and make an attack with your spear, please.
Spear is a nope. That's an 11. That's not going to hit.
That's correct. Oh wait, no, wait. You rolled an 11 total.
Yes.
Yeah, 11 hits.
Oh, well then that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Damage
You are
wise,
good.
it's a 1d8. So
This one has 1
one
hit point, so
Oh.
you can just
Yeah.
you
Damn it! I rolled an 8.
good. You do an extra good job of kabobbing the already sandblasted gull. You took its most of the feathers that were going to fall off anyway. At some point, you took right off, and then you just right through the front of it. This will take down half of them, which I think is probably good enough to make them try and check morale and see if they want to continue hanging out with you or they're done. That's not a great morale roll. Okay, so they're actually going to start moving a little bit away from you and start pecking up the sand of their fallen. So they're like a little bit out of range of your spear. They're not like coming towards you to aggro you. They're maybe like 10, 15 feet away, but they're going to devour the sand of their fallen comrades while staying within sight.
Sounds like gulls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we can kind of leave initiative, I guess, now. Say Annabelle can get down to the ground after this has happened. And Cranker, you can start moving down unless you want to do anything else. You can maybe, I'll say, scoop up some of the sand from some of the gulls that you felled if you want to test your luck.
I would absolutely love to do that.
All right.
Never tasted gull before.
Are you gonna? Oh, you're actually gonna eat some of it, or?
Ooh. How much is available? Because amounts do matter.
Okay, so there's a total of 800 sand on the ground. I'll say that they're within like easy reach of you though is maybe 200.
I'll take it, and I'll eat
if you want
100 of it.
To scoop that up, you can do that, and you're going to eat 100 of it.
Yep.
Okay, so you scoop up some of it. You indulge in the same delicious feast as the gulls, and you can gain 100 XP off of that. And suddenly, you're just keenly aware of all the things in the room that are shiny, and you have this desire to take them home and put them in your bed and roll around in them. It would just be super good to take your spell pearls and put them down on that mattress and roll around in them, and then maybe have a baby and put the baby into the riches.
I could sit on the baby and the spell pearls at the same time.
Yeah, it would feel.
Oh my god!
It would really actually really tweak that paternal instinct for you to do that right now. Your endorphins or whatever would be firing very highly were that to happen. That sounds pretty easy to access. That's not going to aggro the other gulls that are busy just like pecking up the sand and like looking over longingly at your spell pearls. You can go ahead and climb down the rope if you want to after that.
DM, I do that.
All right. So you have all descended to the second level, which means that you're going to get a bunch of experience points because you have found a way down there. So you get 1,050 experience points for your experiences on that level.
Excellent.
Also, how much sand do we have total now? Because the amount has changed.
I haven't been doing the math on that.
Okay.
So I've only been keeping track of the sand I have on my on hand personally because I use it as a consumable. I had 200 in hand, used 100 of it to blast, and then received 200 more. So I'm currently up 300.
Okay.
You used all the sand that you had to sell to the crab. You found 500. You found 500 more in the box, and you got some from the fish. You got 400 more from the fish. So that would be a total of 900 since the crab cleaned you out.
And we're leveling up right now, or?
And then you got an additional 200 just now. I guess Cranker did. So minus 100 for usage. You are down to 1,000. And then you got 1,050 experience points each.
Cool.
So
I will keep the 200 and split the rest of the sand up amongst yourselves.
yeah, you should probably all keep track of how much sand you're carrying because that is relevant.
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
Don't apologize to
Did
me.
you give me, Crankor?
Sorry?
How much sand did you give me to carry, Crankor?
If this pool was 700, then there should be 500 between the two of you now that I think about it.
I can just carry 200.
Sure. I'll got the rest.
So 300 for flute.
Sure thing.
All right. So Annabelle makes her way down to the bottom. Cranker, you make your way down to the bottom. Everyone has found their way down to back into the coral maze. You were determined never to find a passageway or staircase down to this level, but always to enter it through some sort of monkey business.
Big cheats!
All right. So this room has it's a maze. It is a bunch of passages that are very difficult to move through. So you've got to kind of crawl at a very slow speed to actually manage to make any headway in any of the directions that you might want to go through this room. And you have no idea, like, I guess you might have been able to get a sense from where you entered at the top of the room, but it's kind of difficult to tell which way you would have to go to find an exit. So it's going to take you a little while of looking around to try and figure out where that exit might be.
I'm afraid my echolocation won't help here. All I can tell is that it's a hole. There is an exit. Wait, there is an exit, right?
Well, you look around for a little while, and you are able to. I mean, you spend a bunch of time sort of crawling through these through the coral. Again, you can see pretty well in here, despite the fact that it's a relatively confined area. And as you, after a bunch of crawling, you come across a fishy face ahead of you, also crawling through the coral in the opposite direction. This is a fish. I'm not sure if you've seen one of these before. It is like one of the other fish, but it is much more brightly colored, and it has these big, like, fins on its head.
This is new.
Like very, very large and almost almost spine-like fins coming out of the back of its head and down its back. It looks in many ways like the other fish people that you have encountered, but yeah, again, different coloring, larger, and just like with the sweet mohawk.
Hmm.
Is that an angry brr or a more passive brr?
Seems like I'm not sure that angry or passive is. It's kind of demanding. It's looking at you like inquisitively, like.
Can we maneuver around this fish, or are we both blocking each other's way if we're coming?
Right
through
now,
this
you're
tunnel?
both blocking. You're both blocking each other's way. So if someone's going to have to go back,
So maybe it's having that conversation like, no, we entered the lane first. We have the right of way, sort of thing.
Do you know how to use a roundabout? Or do you?
Yeah.
Do you
God.
We should back up and let the fish pass, guys. Unless
looks
you
like
want to
there's
kill the fish.
Let's
There's at
listen
least
to the
one more
language
fish.
expert.
crawling
Yeah, sure.
past this or crawling behind this one as well. Okay, so you're backing off. The fish will continue moving after you, looking increasingly exasperated because you're like, not only are you like moving in this small confined space, but you're moving backwards, and so you're probably not going super quickly, and they are just. And like one of them starts like making like a monkey sort of gesture at the other ones, and so yeah, they but after what feels like an eternity, you're able to back in a certain direction that they are not going to go, and they're just going to continue moving past you, and maybe flip you the bird a little bit on the way past, make some sort of aggressive and annoyed fish gesture that is nonetheless not an attack, but you know, the expression of their displeasure. Yeah. So, but this has set you back. Do you want to try going in a different direction? Do you want to like continue back the way that you were going?
I feel like if we hustle a bit, we can make up the time we lost going forward and continue on the route we were going on.
Yeah, sounds good.
Because we're familiar with it now, having done it. This would be our third time.
Yeah.
So, like you're not like a super big expert on coral, and like all the passages kind of look this, or all the tunnels and paths kind of look the same. Can I get someone to nominate themselves to make a wisdom save to try and like continue in the direction you were going?
Go ahead.
Could I use my secret seeker academic skill that just kind of lets me freely search the room, but in this case, just like understand the passageways?
I think it makes. Sure, you can do that to try and move through a little faster. Sure, we can try that.
Okay. I'm going to roll intelligence for that, and that is 8 total.
8 total. All right. So Annabelle's like, yeah, I got this. I know which way to go. And you follow Annabelle because Annabelle assures you that she's smarter than all of you. She went to the
language
schools.
expert.
Yeah. And Annabelle takes you in this sort of like windy, twisty passageway direction, and you're like, this feels like we've been going for quite a long time, Annabelle. Do you know, like, but you know, nonetheless, you suddenly start to feel like a sense of almost curiosity, great curiosity. Curiosity almost overwhelms you as you continue moving through. You just can't wait to see what's ahead, and you're wondering what happened here. This sense of, and then you round a corner and you see one of those big creatures made entirely out of coral with the big brain coral in the middle, that's like constructed from entirely from coral, and it's like investigating some coral that's been broken looks like something moved through it quickly, maybe snapped some of it off, and it's sort of tidying it up, and it takes part of it, sticks it to its body, and the coral sort of starts to like grow into its body. It doesn't seem to be paying much attention to you, though.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't want to get grown into its body.
No.
From this vantage point, since it seems like there's an opening in the coral to see this, can we see the lay of the land a bit better?
You're still kind of stuck in the thickets right at this point, but if you want to, so it's like maybe you're at a crossroad or a three-way intersection where it opens up a little bit to see this thing. But I guess it is sort of opening up a little bit for this thing to have been able to move into here. So sure, we'll say that you're near sort of a point where it does seem to be getting a little bit less dense and easier to move through.
Okay. The entire time that Annabelle was leading the group, she refused to actually go into player one position at the start of the train. She was actually like backseating the entire time, which is why it was completely ineffective.
Of course.
Yeah, and in this case, I think she notices her fault. And sorry, team, I got turned around there. I couldn't see the lay of the land beyond Flute's butt.
Yeah, that's not an uncommon experience. And well, that's okay. Shall we? What do you say we sneak past this big guy? We get out of this room and continue on without them noticing us.
So you're saying I shouldn't do a happy toot toot at them to know that we're friends of them?
Please don't. Please.
Okay. I won't.
Not this time.
But next time.
Absolutely.
So this room, or this passage that you've been going through, actually opens up into a slightly larger clearing in the coral, like very, very large, almost cave-like, with coral surrounding you on all around on the top and bottom. Unfortunately, this room actually has or this area, this cave, has 4 entrances, including the one that you've come through. You have no idea what direction you're going in at this point, by the way. You got totally turned around in the coral. But this room seems very familiar. There is a... where's the description? So there are 5 big heads. They're arranged in like the pips on a 5-sided die. There are 4 of them that are gushing water out, and a 5th in the center that is mostly immersed in water itself. So the 4 around the outside are gushing water out of their mouths. The water goes into the pool in the center, and then there is a 4th one that is mostly immersed.
I'm going to stick my head in the water and see if there's that chest still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Flute goes boldly across the room and sticks his head in the water. There's a chest down under the water. There it is. It's a stone chest, and it's there down at the bottom of the water.
Oh.
The catch is it's made of stone, and it's about 10 feet down. And as you said, you're sticking your head under the water?
Yes.
Okay, you definitely hear the while your head's under there.
Okay. I take my head out and I give myself a little dog shake there, and I say, "It's still there. It's actually, there's a treasure chest down there. We gotta get it. We should get it.
Let's get it, team." And Annabelle jumps in.
All right. Great, cool. So the chest is pretty big. It's actually like quite large. It's maybe 6 feet long, but only about 2 feet wide. And it, as I say, it is made of stone and pretty big. So, okay, Annabelle.
You described a coffin, Jer.
Did I?
6 feet long, 2 feet wide.
Interesting. So, Annabelle, you've jumped into the water.
Yeah.
Flute was like sticking his head in the water. Cool. What are you swimming down to the chest at the bottom?
Yes, that is what Annabelle has on her mind to do.
Okay. I think that's fine. You can swim down to it. Cranker, what are you doing while these two are fiddling with the pool in the middle?
Keeping an eye on the entrances and exits at this point.
Okay. Right. Okay. So you're like keeping watch. Why don't you make me a wisdom save?
Okay. Let's push that button that rolls the D20. Push that against my wisdom. That's a 13. So I don't think that's...
Okay. So these two are Flute's sort of semi-submerged. Annabelle is just 100% in the water. There is a little levitating fish that you almost wouldn't have noticed because it's mostly transparent, and it's been sort of moving slowly across the room, kind of trying to blend in with the coral. Maybe it was actually like levitating up near the, yeah, that makes more sense. It was levitating up near the coral at the top of the room, so you wouldn't have noticed it, but then it's sort of like moving down slowly towards Flute. Just very, and it's, as I say, it's semi-transparent, almost impossible to see, but somehow you spotted it as it's moving down toward Flute's semi-immersed body.
Stab!
Do you just
Okay,
say that, or do you do it?
Are you actually going to do it?
I say that, and then I do it.
Okay, so yeah, you can go ahead and make an attack on this thing.
Sounds good. Oh, wow, that's 20 on the die.
Ooh.
Okay, roll me some damage, please.
Damage is 1d8, means you take 8. Ooh, 8 damage!
Yeah.
Okay,
We're rolling good
So-
on damage.
so again, you create a nice little fish skewer as you grab this thing right out of the air as it was like levitating down, and you got it on a stick.
When
Cool.
Crankor says stab, he means it.
Yeah, so this is like a little fish. It has some like suckery like tentacles. I'm trying to think
Ooh.
if you might have. It's definitely not an octopus.
Is this a
Um,
Manowar?
Ooh.
No.
Okay, good.
I'm just gonna.
It sounded like
a-
an eel.
I am probably not doing justice to the description of this. So yeah, it's definitely a fish. It has a sort of ridge. It has ridges sort of along the top of its head
Ooh.
that give the sense that it has some sort of cartilage or something up there.
Mhm.
It's a remora. It's a
Okay.
It's a semi-transparent remora, and it has sort of like a suckery thing.
Hmm. Well, it's good that you didn't
on-
have that on you, Flute.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
But it's not like it's very big. It doesn't look like it's like it would probably have, throttled Flute and eaten him in the way that some other things with suckers might. But it doesn't look like it necessarily would have been super pleasant.
I've been in this dungeon enough not to trust anything.
Yeah.
Except for the octopus.
Yeah, to always trust the octopods. So octopody. Annabelle, you can swim down to the chest under the water. What are you trying to do with the chest? You're just trying to take the lid off of it?
Testing how heavy it is. And
Really heavy.
Really heavy. And if it's not budging at
Really
all,
heavy.
testing how heavy the lid is.
really heavy.
Mm.
The lid is made of stone. The chest is made of stone. 6x2 piece of stone, not light. Even though the lid is only like maybe 4 or 5 inches thick, that you're not moving that. You need a lot of leverage.
Yeah. Annabelle will swim back up and ask Crankor, you're a magic man, right? You know about leverage.
Why, yes, it was a wonderful play created by a man in the past named Jonathan Frakes. Unfortunately, I don't think I have anything that can deal particularly with this sort of an issue. We may need to solve some sort of riddle in this room.
Is that old phrase that my mother said to me to remember on the journey here? Where, what was it? Where the father of the mountain mourns?
I believe that's it.
Yeah, that sounds like something I heard in the past.
So is this where he mourns? Is this a coffin down here? It looks like it could be having a dead person inside of it. And not in the fun body sack way, but in a like there might be some like severe booby traps or something if we open this thing.
Yeah, generally when you put people in stone boxes, it means that you don't want people to get in. Or you don't want them to get out.
We might have to leave this stone ocean behind then.
Finally, we get there. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm still curious though.
I'm extremely curious too. The more I think about it though, when you put something inside of a stone box and then put water on top of it, that generally is a good sign to not go inside. But I like things, and it might be shiny.
That's
Fluke.
true, and you never know when
Fluke.
the next head-eating, dazzling light octopus is going to just wander into the room.
How do we stop? How do we wait a second? So this, there's a lot of heads spewing water into this central area. Is it like a pool that's got the box?
Yeah,
in it
there's a central pool with one of the heads in it, and it's like submerged, and then the other heads are like up above the ground. Like at the level of the ground, and they're fountains basically. They're fountaining water, and it's going into these troughs that move into the central pool.
So either we've got to block the troughs and drain the pool, or move the heads, or block the heads.
But how can we do any of that without leverage?
I mean, I could just go down there with Queequeg and try to leverage the thing open. I could do that.
Easiest answer first. Go for it.
Okay, let's try it, because it is 9 o'clock, and I want something to happen at the end of this episode. So I dive into the water with Queequeg, and I get it as hard under there as I can, and I just heave.
Okay, so Queequeg bends in a way that you find rather dangerous and is going to lose a point of durability.
Okay.
And you don't have enough leverage to do this. But maybe, the problem is there's two problems. One, this thing is very heavy, and two, it has many tons of water on top of it. So you definitely can't do it yourself. But if you had help and there was less water on top, you might be able to open it.
Mm-hmm.
If only you also had me helping with my harpoon that doesn't have a name because it's not special. Would it work at all if Annabelle also bent her harpoon trying to open this thing?
There are two problems that need to be solved. One of them is not enough strength. The other one is there are tons of water on top.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to solve both of those problems to be able to open it up.
Okay.
So the leverage is not an issue, in my opinion, as long as we remove that water. You know what? Let's spend some time looking around this room.
Okay. So so let's say that you're taking a break. I'm intentionally letting this go a little bit longer because I want to see what happens in this room. But assuming that that's okay with you guys and okay with Paul, let's just figure out what happens in this room and then we'll call it a night.
I got to run at 9:15, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you search the room. What you're able to figure out is that with some give, the statues are able to be rotated, and they actually are on wheels or casters or something that makes them actually quite easy to rotate. And so you are able to rotate them. As you are searching the room, you hear a and you turn around to see that a pile of mush that's quickly identifiable as a sea cucumber has landed on the ground near you. And then there's another, and there's another one, there's another one, and just suddenly they start just kind of raining from the ceiling.
Oh boy.
You know about these things. People will dive down sometimes and like harvest them off the bottom of the water. They're kind of good to eat. They're not very big, so it like takes a few of them to make a ration. But assuming that these are normal sea cucumbers and they look like it, they might be some good eating. Okay. Anyway, they very slowly start to move back towards the coral. Seems like there might have been some disturbance in the coral above you that caused them to rain down. But they're going to very slowly start to move across the floor. Much in the way that if you see a snail or something in your garden and then you come back 4 hours later, it's moved 3 feet. They're going to start doing that. Anyway, that's there. You figure out that the statues can be rotated. If you rotate them, they're not spewing water into the center of the room quite so much.
Let's rotate the statues.
So you rotate the statues.
As Annabelle
move the water.
The horn.
So this is going to make a mess because as you rotate them, they start spewing water just over the floor. And so it's like not really collecting. It's got lots of places to go, but you know, you're going to be like ankle deep in water as it's kind of moving all over the place and got little waves in it and whatnot. The sea cucumbers are loving it though. They are getting very full of the water. But what this is going to do is it's going to make it so that not all the water is being directed to the pit in the center, and the pit is actually going to drain out without the water being forced down into it.
All right. How far a drop is it down into this fountain?
I said it was like 6 feet.
Okay, well then we could hop down there then, probably.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's a bit slippery and there's like water everywhere, but you can totally it's not going to hurt you.
We should do that.
So, yeah, you clamber down in there. All three of you working together are going to open the. Okay, so
everybody jam.
Cut to a camera angle that is for no reason sinisterly inside the 6x2 foot box, as three people heave open the top of what may or may not be a coffin. No, I'm just joking. There's no reason for the Sam Raimi. Inside is an ornate-looking spear. In fact, it is a very ornate-looking spear. It is... Sorry, it is a harpoon. The point appears to be made of volcanic rock and is split down the middle. And you see that you notice you've seen this spear before. This is the spear you saw in the effigies of the Deep Queen at various points throughout the temple.
Ooh.
I reach down, grab the spear, and say, I shall christen you Dracula's monster.
And I think that's where we're going to call it.
Nice.
Good job.
Congratulations.
I'm excited.
You found something cool.
All right.
So we should probably head into the after show because Andy's got to go. We've all got to go. So thank you folks for joining us this evening. We went a little bit overtime, so we're going to wrap it up quickly. And but this has been awesome, and we look forward to having one more session of a Rasp of Sand so we can make good on whatever good this spear is going to do. Have a good night, have a good week, folks, and we will see you in a few days.
Bye-bye.